in the Agile space for about 7 or 8 years. Before that, I was in the development space. So I've got a pretty intimate relationship with ticketing systems and Jira in particular. And I'm always very interested in products in the Jira space that create visuals into very large projects and help us understand across teams and other projects in Jira how very large projects are coming together and that we can generate status out of those. So I've been very excited about the work that ALM Works has been doing with their structure product. And tonight I'm going to talk about an upcoming module for structure called Structure Gantt. Pre-release, it's available on their website. I'll show you how to get it at the end of the presentation. But first, how many people have never heard of ALM structure? And how many people are using structure? Okay. And how many people are eagerly anticipating Structure Gantt? Everyone using structure. Excellent. All right. So this is Jira. This is a structure view. The structure product allows you to create views into Jira that can run across all the projects in Jira and are pulled together based on queries that you define. So you can define an initiative through the structure query language and pull from multiple projects in Jira and get a data set that'll give you some visuals into an initiative that the organization is engaged in. This is a demo initiative for constructing a theme park. And structural, this is the basic structure view, gives you can tree into the theme park. These are the multiple initiatives within the theme park, site preparation, the development of the rides, and marketing. And you can continue to drill in structure and get across all the projects in Jira. You can see the ticket types come from various places in Jira and coordinate that through the structure interface. What this is missing and what Gantt is going to add is a view into the internal relationships between these tickets, which can be very important when it comes to issues of priority by team, if a team's got to unblock another team in order to get something done, and also in terms of timeline, when you're likely to see something. So with that in mind, I'm going to go over here and open up the Gantt view into this structure, and we're going to immediately see that this is more complex than it looks just in straight structure. We've got a dependency network here on the tasks that's really extending the tasks out beyond what the individual story points might tell you in terms of completion. So I'm going to walk through the features of Structure Gantt specifically. This is still in development, so there's a lot of work that's in their pipeline. And if anyone has any questions while I'm going through this, stop me, because I'd rather answer the question immediately because other people might have the same question. So I'll get started with the walkthrough now. So I'm going to back this up to the, I can't really see the screen over there, is actually part of my problem here. I'm going to look at this screen. So I'm going to back this up. The first thing that you're going to see with Gantt charts is that when you have your top level structure, it's going to give you a visual into the timeline for that top level structure rolled up for all the tasks underneath it. And you can change the resolution of the Gantt chart with this drop down. So right now we're looking at it week over week, but if we change it to quarters, we're going to see that this project is slated to start in the end of October, and we're likely to see it sometime in February in 2018. And that's already a lot of information given the amount of tickets that are in this structure. The relationship between the standard structure and the Gantt chart is very powerful because we can begin to tree into the structure. Let me collapse all this back up because I want to go down bit by bit and see some of the internals for the overall project, how we've broken them out by initiative, and see what the long pull is going to be on this project, which is rides and attractions. And we can see that site prep right now is probably, the rides and attractions are probably dependent on site prep. If that's true, we can easily create a dependency between them, provided I can get this mouse to work. which might actually be problematic. Give me a moment here. There we go. Simply by dragging the dependency, Gantt charts is going to automatically move all of those tasks over in the completion timeline based on the dependency that we just created. So if we start treeing into this, sorry, this mouse is really confusing me here. Here we go. I hope. All right. Hold on. Let me expand everything here so I don't need to use the mouse. All right. And I don't have my Mac swipe. Okay, it swipes the other way. All right. So hold on, I got a little lost. Let me get back into here. Oh, right. So I'm at a very zoomed out resolution. I want to go back in to week over week so that I can see the detail that I'm actually trying to show here. So we just moved the rides and attractions to be dependent on site preparation. If we have more insight into what's going on in site preparation, we can actually go into the specific task that's going to be able to activate the rides and attractions, which might be, for example, getting the asphalt on the site. If I can, again, control this computer. So here are the asphalt requirements by asphalt. If we say, well, given that we're doing site preparation, but if we just get this done, then we can begin rides and attractions. Ooh, I might get completely defeated by this mouse. We can drag directly from a task up to the entire initiative and say that at this point the initiatives can run in parallel. And that creates a critical path that'll be in red for that next initiative. I apologize for the trouble with the mouse. I might struggle with it through the whole presentation. All right, the other thing that Gantt charts is showing you is these little fill lines here show you the progress for this specific item in the context of the overall dependency map. There's a planning feature in here. Let me expand this back out.
So that matches what you're also seeing the progress bar?
That's correct, yep. When you're changing the duration of a specific task, Gantt charts will do things that you would expect. For example, if I extend my task out to the end of a week and there are dependent tasks, it will start those tasks at the beginning of the next week. It knows to skip weekends. This is actually configurable. How your organization treats weekends, days off, lunch hours, and so forth is all configurable here. And based on how you move tasks around, it'll automatically align accordingly to what you specify.
Will you define the capacity of the individuals too?
Yeah, yeah. I'll get to that actually. That's towards the end. But yes, it does the capacity management as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So we have to switch the microphone. So.
Yeah. So the other thing that Gantt charts does is it allows you to specify that an issue in Jira is actually a milestone. And a milestone is a way to indicate that when a bunch of things happen, you're at a certain state. So I'm going to go find this task here, and what we might say is that this warp drive mode isn't actually a task. It's an outcome of a bunch of tasks that we're trying to get done. And so I have it selected. I'm going to go up here and convert it into a milestone. And I'm going to say that when we complete this task right here, we will have accomplished warp drive. and that'll be the milestone that all of these tasks lead to, and we can then claim success on a milestone within the overall progress of the project. We could then link from the milestone to, if I can do this with the mouse again, to another task saying that in order to start this task, we need to complete a milestone. And so I will link it up here to this task. And now to start the redefinition of the standard model of particle physics, we need to achieve warp drive. And to achieve warp drive, we need to complete all of these tasks. And you'll notice that a lot of this visualization and a lot of this understanding is not available in the basic structure view, as powerful as it is. So these two combined are really going to provide a tremendous amount of insight into how the teams are indicating the relationship between each other and how the project overall across multiple teams in Jira is structured and prioritized. So the other thing that this will do, what Structure Gantt will do, is give you indications of how the people working on the project are loaded out from a resource perspective. So I'm going to open up the resource view. And what it does is it scrapes out all of the people that currently have assigned tasks and creates a list of those people and shows you when their task and how many hours they're tasked for, given the resolution you're viewing. Here we're viewing week over week, so we get it by day. And we can see that, for example, Bob is way over tasked. And we could go and try to help Bob by selecting a task and reassigning it to someone else in the organization. For example, we've got Donald Duck here ready to go. And we'll see that we're starting to detask Bob, and eventually through some allocation of assignments, we could get Bob down to a reasonable level and include more people, which allows us to understand what capacity we're going to need in order to get all this work done and to balance it appropriately. So are there any questions so far? Yeah?
So the actual dependencies, where is that? The issues.
Yep, great question. So when you create a dependency in Gantt, it actually creates a link type of your specification on the issue in Jira. So you still get to look at this through the standard Jira interface, and it'll all make sense, but you also get to roll it up into the Gantt chart and have it displayed visually. Yep.
So when you look at the one particular week that Bob is overloaded, can you click on that week and see what tasks are scheduled for that week?
You have the exact same one I had, and no, you can't do it right now, but that would be a great feature, and those are the ALM Works guys over there, so you should probably talk to them and get it on the roadmap. Yep.
Can you level the resources for the whole project all in one shot?
I have not seen resource leveling. I don't know if it's on the roadmap again.
It is on the roadmap. Yeah. It's going to be, this is a 0.7 beta version, right? So version 1 that's going to be the
Okay.
Yep, in the back.
use points in the resource instead of hours.
Yeah, so I was going to walk through a configuration. When you link a Gantt chart to a structure, there's a configuration step where you specify all of those things. So I'll bring that up now. Time check? We're good. Okay. Head over to this one. So this is a clean structure view. It has not been associated with a Gantt chart yet. This is the screen you'll get. So we want to go ahead and create but we don't want to create a Gantt chart. Let me see if I can. Good, it did not accept it. So what I want to do is manage my configurations, create a new configuration. So this is the configuration for a Gantt chart, and these become a library of configurations that you have within your organization, and this will allow you to specify all sorts of policies for how the Gantt chart interprets Jira data. So this is just the basic naming. We're going to use the standard calendar. You can actually define your own calendar. This is what defines weekends and office hours and so forth. Then there are the other tabs. So scheduling, this gets to how it determines task duration. You can use time tracking, you can use story points, you can use both, and you can have it prefer story points over
some other data that's in there. So if your teams aren't all story pointing or everything is in story pointing, it'll fall back on the hour estimation. Manual scheduling, I'm not going to get into, but basically, if you don't select manual scheduling, you can't move the tasks. You can't move the start date of a task. When you get into moving the start date of a task, it'll anchor that task, and irrespective of the dependencies you have, that task will start and end on the date specified, even if it doesn't make sense from a dependency standpoint, which is something you have to work out from a project management standpoint. But I just leave it in flow mode because I like to represent the actuals more than the projection.
Question.
Yep.
So can you start with automatic configuration of the start date based on the estimate and then start to drag them?
Yeah, if you have manual configured, yes. It'll start with the automated flow, and then as soon as you make an override, it'll pin it, and that's where it will be. Precision, you can have it, this is where a start and end of the task, what it rounds it off to. I have it set to hour, you can do by the minute or day. And if you take this off, you won't get the groupings, the structure groupings that you have won't show up in the Gantt chart. It'll treat everything like a task. I prefer the groupings, but it depends upon how you want to run your project. So we'll leave it at that. The dependencies, this is where you select the link type that is going to be used to indicate a dependency. Default is blocked, but you might have your own custom link type that you're using selected here, and this is the link type that'll get created when you associate two issues. Resources, this is the field that it looks at in Jira to determine who's assigned to a task. If you have a custom field that you use, because assignee might bounce around throughout the task lifecycle, but you want to know someone who's accountable to the task, you might have that field. You can select it here, and that's what will show up in the Gantt chart. Time zone right now, the time zones need to match the time zone for the server for the current state of Gantt charts. That'll be changed. But if you download Gantt charts, leave it set to Moscow. Otherwise, you won't be able to adjust your task lengths. But you will be able to set your time zone once it's released. And then the work calendar that we're using is the standard one. Save this off. We'll use this config and close this off.
So how
Yep.
does it work for a distributed team if you have people in the East Coast or West Coast?
Let me go back to the resources. There's a way of dealing with that. Let me go ahead and create this Gantt chart if I can get this thing to click.
I think you need a start date.
Oh, you're right, yes. So this project is going to start, we'll say, yesterday. Thank you. Let me bounce back. So that's the configuration. So that's the configuration step you'll go through when you download and install structured Gantt. Let me go back to our demo here, go back to the resources. So let's say we select a resource and that resource is working somewhere else in the world. You can set their time zone here. Again, leave it set to Moscow if you download this, even if your teams are distributed. Otherwise, you won't be able to adjust the tasks. But when it's released, you'll be able to set the time zones for the individual resource in order to roll up the tasks appropriately. Any other questions? All right, so right now you can get this for free off of ALM's website. So I'm going to show you where that is. If you go to the ALM Works website, it's right on their homepage. Click on Learn More. Download beta. That'll download the file to your computer. Then go to, if you have administrative access or know someone who does, go to your Jira add-ons. Manage add-ons and upload an add-on. Choose the file that you just downloaded, upload it, and it will install Structure Gantt, and you can go in and use it.
There's also some documentation on the ALM website available from the structured Gantt page that I just showed you that give you some basic overview as well.
Any more questions?
Fantastic job, Jeremy.